Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, race fans. Welcome to tonight's live coverage of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars series here at the iconic Road Atlanta racecourse. This event this evening, of course, brought to you by Alliance Sim Racing in partnership with Simple Racing Broadcasts. My name is Jared Cole. I'm your lead commentator for this evening, and we have yet another absolutely fantastic event lined up for you. We've got our usual 10-minute qualifying, 2 laps going on as we speak this evening. And then the drivers tonight will be taking on 2 intense 22-lap races, each of those featuring a compulsory pit stop. As always, strategy, skill and stamina will all be tested on this very demanding circuit. Now, joining me in the commentary booth tonight is my lovely co-commentator, Dean Biggles Hopton. Biggles, always a pleasure having you here. Road Atlanta, it's a tough track. The V8 Supercars is an absolute handful. Your first evening tonight with us here at Alliance Sim Racing. What do you think we can expect this evening?
Oh, yeah, thanks, Jared. Yeah, well, it's great to be here. Road Atlanta is certainly an absolute beast of a track in these V8 Supercars. Going to be put through their paces today, and with all those sweeping corners, there's tricky elevation changes. And we'll see those drivers battling to find the right balance between aggression and precision. And all that, of course, with those compulsory, not complimentary pit stops in both those races, of course. So strategy could very well decide who comes out on top.
Oh, look, absolutely. And hey, to be fair, they could be complimentary pit stops. I don't believe ASR charges entry fees by the pit stop, so we'll call them complimentary as well. I think you've got that nailed. Look, guys, we are looking at an evening full of, as always, very hard and fast racing, smart strategy, very clean racing always from the Alliance Sim Racing crew here, and no doubt a few surprises in store. So do please stay with us as we kick off with qualifying in just a few moments. We get ready for our 2 race events this evening here at Road Atlanta. Another unforgettable evening of racing ahead of us. Biggles, take us through the track conditions. What are we working with tonight?
Well, Jared, I mean, just kind of glancing over the weather at the moment, 20 degrees track temperature. Should be pretty good, I'd say. Should be quite balanced for these beasts to get themselves around there, because you've got to throw these cars into the corner, as we mentioned, especially the S's and stuff like that. So I'd say not bad, clear conditions. No haze, no fog, no rain. Should be good to go.
Lovely to hear. And let's talk about Road Atlanta. Your experience, I've got some thoughts on it. I've driven Road Atlanta quite a few times myself. So I'd love to hear your thoughts first before I start spouting off too much this evening.
Well, some overtaken opportunities. 10A, 10B are always tricky because, you know, sometimes with the US tracks you've got A's and B's and corner names and stuff like that don't really matter too much. S's also very, very tricky as well to go off the racing line through any of those, and you're going to compromise a lot of speed. However, overtaking is very difficult through there. Of course, 6 and 7, always opportunities you can see on that track map all the way down at the bottom, so that square section. And then long straightaway up, once again, mentioning up in 10A and 10B. So that's where you get it done, of course. Just get a good exit out of 12. Perhaps you can do some overtaking opportunities into turn 1. You've got to watch the pit lane exit also coming out of there too with traffic. Depending on those strategies.
Mate, I am so happy to hear that we're so well aligned on this track this evening. You've basically taken the words right out of my mouth. This track, particularly for the supercars, barring any mistakes, I think the most of the passing opportunity we're going to see here. Turn 5, if you've got a good run, is a really tough one, but it can be done. But really, I'm expecting most of the passing action to be done here at 6 and 7, down our back straight, of course, with the arrow, giving a bit of speed to the driver behind. And then, 10A, 10B, that infamous last chicane here at Road Atlanta, I am expecting to see all sorts of interesting events happening down there. Just before we jump in and take a look at the qualifying action going on, let's just take a quick look at the championship standings after our first round. So before round 2, race 1, this is how they stack up. Travis Hunt had a fantastic event last week, walking away with 360 points. Matt Vanderkraan, though, not far behind on 355. Stephen Varga taking out 3rd in the championship from round 1. Darren Crosby, Rick Vigar, Sean Vandermeulen. Vandermeulen's actually not racing tonight, so that's going to cost him a few points, unfortunately. Troy Sipple, good to see him in the top 10. Nick Hausler, Jason Dunn, and Simon Haynes rounding out the top 10. But as you can see, all very, very close in terms of points across the top 10 there before we get into tonight's event. So we take a look back further through the field just to give everyone their due. Chris Burridge, Dane Nothdurft, Scott Perrins in 13th, tied with Daniel Sheriffs there for points. Todd Martin, Gary Buckland, Mario Rail, Damon Fisher, Peter Latham tying with Fisher for 18th there, as well as the tie with Buckland and Rail in 16th. And then Matthew Stoyles stands alone in 20th at 272 points. DiBattista a little further back in 21st, with Granshaw not far behind. Travis Daly back there as well with Chad Vigar. These guys had a bit of a rough start, but it's only one round in. Dylan Sipple as well, also having a bit of a rough run. James Hardy just ahead of him. Anita Buckland and Mark Peck back there. Peter Vanderkraan and Matt Wicks rounding out the 30. And then some really rough races for a few of these guys and penalties applied. Phil Marsh, Peter Sattler, Tyrone Anderson, Michael Hayes, then Jamie McKnight and Stephen Kennedy. Particularly for Jamie McKnight, actually had a fantastic first race last week, but penalty points have set him all the way to the back of the championship at this stage. So hopefully he manages to pick up a few more this evening.
Sorry, who was that? Just to clarify.
Jamie McKnight. Yeah, of course.
Jamie McKnight. I was going to say, yeah, because I was just looking through, obviously, on Sim Racer Hub, where they keep all these fantastic information, and please, Sim Racing Hub is also it's basically a racing hub. Everybody uses it. I was looking through going. He's got the one race win, and of course from the 2 race starts that we had last week. But he only competed in the 1 race.
Yeah, So it's
or at least acknowledged for that, as you said.
Wasn't quite what he had in mind, unfortunately. As we take a bit of a look here, and we'll see if we can catch any of the action on track as the drivers are making their way around on these qualifying laps. As we've got here Luke Powell just making his way out, trying to better his time 21st. The standout so far, Damon Fisher, a very low 119. And for yourself, Biggles, new to this league, of course, what are your thoughts in terms of just how close these times are for this top 10?
Well, I mean, you've got the top, but what do we get? We've got top 14 separated by a second. I mean, you're getting into Formula 1 kind of times at that, aren't you? And these cars are a lot slower. They peak up at around 300 kilometers an hour. Which is about 270 or so miles per hour. Wow, as Chris Borage just pumps in the fastest lap there, 119 flat. And Matt, keep an eye on Matty at the moment. Vanderkraan, he is flying as well as he goes bang to the top of the time sheet. He'll set purples all over the place. That's 2/10 gap. There's some serious times being hammered in right now.
Trav Daly, though, at the same time getting into the 18s there. So some very, very quick times. We've still got 5 minutes left in this session for drivers to potentially manage a bit of a quicker lap, as we see Stephen Varga just hanging in the pit lane. Matthew Stoyles as well seems to be just hanging and waiting. I think we've seen most of these drivers now finishing up their laps. But Luke Powell still making his way around, trying to up his game there a little.
Yeah, but
Jason Dunn not far behind.
Half a dozen cars out on track at the moment. They've still got a couple of drivers yet to put a time in. Jason Dunn yet to put a time in, a competitive time at least. Probably a couple off tracks. I'm a little curious about the off track excursions as well too around here, because you can't really buy a lot of time. You lose a lot of it, but of course you get the naughty with iRacing if you go venturing too far.
Yeah, they don't like it, and particularly when you're trying to set a qualifying lap. It's just a little run off track, and that's your qualifying lap done. You can wait till you get round again. As we see Jason Dunn looking to set his first possible lap time. He did run a 1:23, but that's obviously with an off track there, so it hasn't counted as a qualifying time for him. So fingers crossed this will be his second lap here, and he might manage to get himself up, but we'll just have to wait and see what he pulls off as he comes into 10A, 10B. That chicane, the scene of so many dramas, really, with incidents galore through there. It's really challenging downhill, the end of a long straight, as we see Jason Dunn run through a 1:20, so he's not going to improve his position too far, but he will start 22nd on the grid there. Stephen Varga still seems to be just hanging in the pits at the moment, but it does look like most of our drivers have actually completed their qualifying times. So we'll just wait for confirmation that we do have a grid ready to go here, but not long to go.
Todd Martin's just finishing up a qualifying lap there as well, and Anita Buckland has stopped out on track. So I think it's just on Jason Dunn as well too. Two drivers out on track there, coming around the final corner right now for the 71 machine of Todd Martin. He will not improve and stay in that 23rd place. Jason Dunn still out on track for the SAR Racing, and he's not setting any personal bests or yellows, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't park that Ford Mustang at some point. No, I'm just going to continue to see the checkered flag.
We wait for the finish here of qualifying. There's still a couple of drivers that haven't stepped onto the track. Whether that's an intentional choice or not is a whole other question. But Todd Martin just sitting on track as well as we wait for the session to finish up. Just a couple minutes to go. And a big thank you this evening, as always, to 24/7 Sim Services for their race control assistance. We will be getting information from them throughout the broadcast, I'm sure, as they keep a very close eye on proceedings. Did a great job at last round, and certainly have a great history with Alliance Sim Racing of providing fantastic sim racing race control coverage. So very good to have them here. If you're in need of that for your league, then by all means, get in touch with them. 247simservices.com is where you want to head if you'd like to get in touch about race control services for your own league or event. As we rapidly approach the end of this qualifying period, we are looking at a very competitive event this evening. The times look a few standouts already as to who's where in the grid, and we'll wait a moment just to make sure that they stand. But I don't know about you, because I'm really excited for a very, very close race here, because it's a fast track road at Atlanta, and given how these guys throw these cars around, it's got a lot of potential for some interesting first couple of laps as they sort out the spacing.
I'm wondering. I mean, there was a super quick lap there from Matt as well to put basically 3/10 on everybody else in the field there. I'm quite curious, because last week's winner, of course, Travis Hunter, for the VIR track that he won on, he was very quick during the practice session. He just only got it on P5, so I'm going to keep an eye out for his racecraft. I think he might be a lot better on the racecraft, which is what pays the points, of course. Qualifying's only one thing, but see how he goes on that one too.
Oh yeah, and look, I'll tell you from experience calling it last week, Trav Hunt, some fantastic driving, particularly late in the second race. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. It really was. So I enjoyed it immensely, and I'm very excited to have you along to experience it as well this evening. As we look to the grid, and this is the confirmed lineup, so let's run through this quickly while everybody does get gridded up. Matt Vanderkraan taking pole alongside Trav Daly, Chris Burridge and Damon Fisher on the second row, with Trav Hunt and Daniel Sheriffs rounding out those top three rows there for us. Stephen Varga and Steve Kennedy. Now, Steve Kennedy had a bit of a shocker last week. He'll be looking to make up for that this time around. Simon Haynes and Troy Sipple in the other QPR cars just behind them, with Rick Vigor and James Hardy from Granny Spec Racing. They've changed their livery this week. Nice to see. Then Matthew Stoyles, Peter Sattler, Scott Perrins and Gary Buckland back there, with Joseph Granshaw and Tyrone Anderson as well. Dylan Sipple alongside Michael Hayes, Mark Peck is there alongside Jason Dunn, Todd Martin and Peter Latham in 23rd and 24th. Nita Buckland, Luke Powell, Matt Wicks. The safety car still showing up there, but of course they won't be joining us on the grid at this point. Nick Howes and Craig Rose. Looks like they may be starting with Philip Marsh from the pit lane. So I'm not quite sure what's happened with the qualifying for them there. But here we go. We are getting ready to go racing as the drivers start to grid up. And it'll only be a short time, I'm sure, and we will be ready to go. Last couple of drivers just gridding up now.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting as well too. Travis Daly and Chris Barrage, the M1 racing team, now are going to be able to work together. That's second and third there on the grid. May be able to cover off, or they're going to try to attack Matt into turn one. Will be very, very interesting as well too, as it's going to pan out there. Fingers crossed they'll get through their first lap, at least in one piece, pointing in the right direction, but you know what's going to happen with 31 gladiators in the arena.
And here we are, starters orders. We have a red light. The revs rise, and we're away. Green, and we are into race one this evening. 22 laps here in the ASR V8 Supercars season. As we come down to turn one, we're going 3 wide into this turn. Let's see if we survive it. It's always a horrifying proposition, turn one of these things. They're unstable enough as it is when you've got warm tyres, much less cold, and straight into the first lap. Bit of a brake lock up there, but everyone keeping it nice and tidy as we get through and into the fast downhill chicanes here at Road Atlanta. Lovely to see everyone just give a bit of space, bit of a shiggle there, and that's one of the Granny Spec racing cars. That's James Hardy off into the wall there, unfortunately. So that's going to cost him now. Is this going to bring us out a safety car, or have we managed to see him off in a safe location there? As we see the drivers just starting to space themselves out and settle on in here.
Yeah, I think he'd be okay. I think that should be it's off the racing lines if there's any problems. What a launch that Damon the Shark Fisher had got as well too. He completely, Travis Daly, bogged down a little bit at the race start and then compromised the black and gold machine because it's got the gold rims. And for a flying start for 505 makes his way up into P3.
It is a seriously tough prospect launching these supercars. So not surprising to see a bit of an issue as we see a couple of cars coming in for a very, very early pit stop. Now, strategy at play here. They've definitely got the fuel to run 22 laps without a problem. But it's worth calling out as we see safety car is out after that earlier incident. So the safety car has just come out onto the track. And they will be leading that around as we try and clean up James Hardy. And let's just check in. Yeah, he is in a bit of a rough position there, isn't he?
Oh, is he stuck?
Just at the bottom of that chicane, that car will have copped quite a bit of damage, I'm sure. Let's see if we can actually get a bit of a better view of what's happened to him there. Let's just check in here, see if we've got that. So he doesn't look like he's had any contact with anyone, I don't think, from what I saw. Or
yeah,
there might have been a little netcode in that. There might have been a little netcode in that. But you can see that front right wheel is done, and I suspect he's done some serious damage to the engine there as well, which is probably going to mean he's going to need that tow back to the pits in order to rejoin anything this evening. As we stay with the safety car, and these drivers, usually we see a couple of laps here as we do get around under safety car conditions, just to give them enough time to move that car off the track and to tow it back to the pits. Always enjoy seeing the GT3 Mustang out as a safety car. It's a great choice for Alliance Sim Racing, isn't it?
Oh, and as long as you don't prang the safety car like they did in where was it, in Monza?
Yeah, look, that's
in Formula One when he lost it out of the curb and parabolica.
Yeah, it's not a great choice, honestly. If you're going to take someone out, you want to make sure it's an opponent, not the safety car, as a general rule.
I think that's the first that Bert Mandel had ever, actually. He's been driving the safety car since the safety car was, I think, since the safety car was introduced in Formula One. So we'll see. Of course, in the chat out there, as you mentioned it before, then Nick was saying he's not racing tonight. Looking forward to watching the broadcast. And of course, and Sean was saying me either worth won't be work's getting in the way of my racing career. Well, good luck on your racing career there, Sean.
Look,
see some drivers diving in the pit road. We are. So there it is, race leader in the pit road, as well as being chased down there by a few of the other drivers here this evening.
Not surprised to see this though. Under safety car, great time to get your compulsory pit stop sorted. And now I'm wondering just how many of these other drivers. So none of these drivers behind the safety car still have actually managed a pit stop in that first lap. We saw a few of them get the early one in there, but those names a little further back, I think we saw Troy Sipple got in there before the safety car, as did Rick Vicker and Craig Rose. I believe.
Yeah. That's going to be very beneficial for them. Exactly. They're going to have essentially, depending on the speed to the race, they're going to have track position. So starting in P11 as first of the pit stops per se of the rest of the field, the top 10 will still have to go down the pit road.
Yeah, so that bodes well for Troy Sipple. Hopefully he can hold it together and then hold off the charge from further back in the field. Matt Vanderkraan, we saw a blisteringly fast qualifying time from. He's about 4 or 5 places back on Troy. So, if this all stays in the order it is now, then there's every chance that he'll have a bit of work to do there to hold him off. But anything can happen. Anything can happen with these guys, and it's only lap 3 after all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't mind, I hope you can have a chance to have a look at that race start, and you're going to get a good indication of that launch that we did see from Damon. The Shark Fisher got a fantastic launch off the start there. That's one of the. I
don't know that I do have that. I'm
M1
sorry.
Racing. That's right.
We'll have to work on being able to go back to that. It's a good note for next time around, though. Thank you, sir. As we see the safety car trundling on past again. And look, worth calling out, these events are not easy to put on and wouldn't be possible without some of the help from our sponsors, including tonight, of course, M1 Used Cars, a dealer of really decent quality used vehicles with trade-in and finance options available. So M1 Used Cars, proud supporters of the Alliance Sim Racing series, and also of their special events, the Pinkfin Sandown 500 that we had a little earlier in the year. So if you are looking for a quality used vehicle, then do give them a visit over at Slacks Creek in Brisbane, or jump onto m1usedcars.com.au. They're just up the road from you, I believe, Dan.
Yeah, just up the road from me, I was about to say. Yeah. Let's pop in and say good day.
Pop on by and say hello. And when you do pick up that car, don't forget to give a shout out to Quantum Tint Solutions. Of course, they're Queensland based as well, and very, very well used to helping protect you and your loved ones from the Queensland heat. So another great sponsor of the Alliance Sim Racing series. And that's actually Troy Sipple on track from Quantum Tint Solutions. So when he's done racing here, give him a shout if you do need to tint your lovely used vehicle. And he will, I'm sure, look after you.
Oh, a few more drivers on pit road.
Yeah, that's interesting. So they might have been holding off to just see what happened with the safety car coming in there.
Yeah, but it lose a full track position at the moment because it's going to be lumped last, waiting for the extra lap, which is an interesting technique. Yeah,
not ideal. But look, safety cars breed safety cars. We know that. So I think it's probably fair for them to count on the opportunity for another one of those potentially happening here. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen that, after all. I think we made it through. If memory serves, last week we might have made it through 2 laps before the next safety car after the first one. So, yeah, anything can happen here, and often does, with Alliance Sim Racing. Brought to you tonight, of course, by Simple Racing Broadcasts. Biggles and I are very proud to be the voices behind the broadcast this evening. And, yeah, looking forward to continuing to bring you coverage as we keep an eye on the safety car as to whether or not they're going to pull off here. Now, the control line tonight is turn 11, so basically the top of the hill after that 10A, 10B chicane is where the lead driver can accelerate from there, and where passing opportunities start to become available. So what we'll probably see here, and I haven't seen indication just yet on whether the safety car is coming in this lap, but I suspect they will be, then you will see the safety car probably take off down that back straight, and give plenty of room to these drivers so that Stephen Varga out in front there can take control of the race line. And there it is, safety car confirmed that they're coming in on this lap. So Stephen Varga will have control. Tell you what, look, I was quite enjoying these last week, but again, as a new face to the series here, Dean, how do you like the liveries these guys have put together?
Oh, it's fantastic. I haven't had a chance to go through all 31 liveries, well, 30 actually drivers that start the race. So, there's some green ones, of course. At the moment, you've got Quantum Pex Racing 2. That's a 1 and 2. So Stephen and Scotty should be able to cover off Tyrone Anderson in the back. But I haven't gone through and picked my favorite just yet because I haven't had a good chance to have a look at them all. So please shout out as well, too, in the chat if you're supporting any friends and family and which livery that you do like as well, too. We do have some Angry Birds in some of the cars as well, too, you'll see.
Yeah, and look, that's not hard to believe either. Alliance Sim Racing, of course, is the combination of Quantum Pecky's Racing, M1 Racing, and Angry Bird Racing teams have put this league together. So quite a few of their entries in here as we see Stephen Varga starting to pick up the pace. And here we go. We are going green again. Big slide from him down the hill. He's giving it everything to open up that gap. As we cross the line, we are green again. And Tyrone Anderson immediately makes the move up the inside of Scott Perrins, doesn't pull it off, pulls it back together there. As we've seen, a big slide there. Who's that off? Is that Trav Hunt? It is. Travis Hunt's gone off, as well as one of the QPR cars. Oh, that's not good at all. He won't be happy with that.
I think as well too was involved in that one. And Tyrone managed to get past Scott to steal that P2 position.
Someone's off in the big way. Todd Martin has just gone off the track in the background as well. I'm not quite sure how he's managed that. Let's go back and take a quick look. Was there contact here? No, he's just overcooked it into the wall there. As we look back up front, so a few incidents on the restart. We said it before, and maybe it's the commentator's curse. Maybe we're behind this. But safety cars breeding safety cars, very much a thing.
Huge battle as well too, brewing around the 7th, 8th position as well too as Maddie, our pole setter, does manage from the Angry Birds Racing team, managed to sneak on by there and steal the P8 position currently at the moment, and he's hunting down Rick. Sorry. Not Rick. Yes, what was his teammate, Rick, who was currently in the back there of Anita Buckland as well, too. He's gained 19 positions, but they're still, some of these drivers are yet to get down the pit road and manage and stuff.
And Anita Buckland, of course, one of those as she tries desperately to hold off a line of cars back there. Rick Vergar threatening, but Matt Vanderkraan, here he comes, looking for a way past probably both of them at once, going very, very wide there. Here's the Angry Birds, both either side of Anita Buckland. Down this straight there, up alongside each other. Little touch there from the teammates. And we see Chris Burridge just trying to take advantage. Almost gets up the inside of the teammates there. As we come back onto the main straight, down the back run, and everyone starts to settle back in. So we are looking at here, Anita Buckland, Troy Sipple just off in front, and then Vanderkraan behind there. So we can see Rick Viggar and Matt Vanderkraan in the two Angry Birds Racing entries as Vanderkraan moves ahead of Anita Buckland. And 10A, 10B proving a decent opportunity to make it past if you can hold it together.
That, of course,
is always the trick.
And then you got to defend it the rest of the track. A key thing is that Stephen Varga, who's leading this race with Quantum Pex Racing, he just sliced a second out of the lap as Luke Powell's gone very, very slow out of the corner, and he's dropped back a couple of places to Racing Machine. I'm not sure if we're slow.
Take a look ahead here. So Tyrone Anderson was threatening, but Stephen Varga, can I just note he's out to a 4-second gap here over P2?
Yeah, just absolutely the fastest laps after the fastest laps. He's lapping about a second a lap quicker than everybody else at the moment.
That is absolutely insane. A 1:19.6 on that last lap. And it leaves this battle for P2 headed up by Tyrone Anderson. And then Peter Latham behind, and Scotty Perrins and Troy Sipple in the QPR entries immediately behind. So let's see what they can get done down the straight here. But they'll be looking ahead to Stephen Varga and just trying to work out how on earth they're going to catch him at this point.
Well, if I'm Scotty as well, two teammates with the Quantum Pex racing team, you've got to let Troy through soon, because Troy is already taking that pit stop, so he's in net position in P1 at this point, and you don't want him to slow down too much. So should be
just seeing Stephen Varga. Has he gone to the pits, or is he just that far ahead? I think he's just that far ahead. Another fastest lap, 1:19.6. My goodness. Varga's looking to put as much distance on these guys as he possibly can before he thinks about coming in himself, I reckon.
Yeah, that's the thing too of Troy. If Troy's thinking about battling it out with him, they are teammates as well too, believe it or not, for the Quantum racing team. So whatever's going on between them at this point, Scotty's got to get past Peter and Tyrone up the road there, because they are on net strategy yet. Once again, still yet to pit. As I said, Troy Sipple, he has gone down the pit road. So once all the rest of these drivers do, he's going to be here.
I'm sorry, Bills. Just see Craig Rose here has had a bit of an issue, and that's over the top there. And look, teammate almost straightened him up there. But he's ended off a long way off in the grass, which is probably not what he was hoping for. That's put him all the way down the back of the field now.
And Troy got past Scotty. Yep, there's team orders at play there. I think that's very, very clever for them to do that from the Quantum Pex racing team. So it's playing it into the hands. They could probably be thinking about getting themselves a top 3 podium lockout here. Have a look at this in the replay, because I think that's just a lift and letting through, because they're in a different race strategy at this point.
Yeah, it does look like they've made that change a little further back than I thought. But Troy Sipple now leading out from Scott Perrins. He's got some pace, and he'll be looking to catch the two in front. But QPR, plenty of entries on track. However, look at that in the background. Here comes Matt Vanderkraan and dragging Rick Vigar with him as well. Damon Fisher back in P9, setting a 1:19.5. So he doesn't want to lose out on the positions here either. As we come on into lap number 9 of this 22-lap first race. Troy Sipple, the only driver in the top 5 who has actually made his mandatory pit stop so far. So he's in an absolute box seat here.
These drivers around where Matt is, that just got past for the Amberts racing team in P6. Now he's unleashed, he's put some banker laps in. In fact, Rick behind him, Chris Burridge there, and Damon the Shark, they're all pumping 19s, late 19s. That's quicker than the leaders at this point.
The tyres warming up, the track temp a little low, so it's probably taken a little while as we see a big slide in the background from Matt Vanderkraan. He is a man on a mission. In fact, let's go on board with him and see just what he's got up the sleeve. It's a hell of a run.
He's got 8 cylinders, that's for sure, purring at correct frequencies. But he's not dropping this pack behind him, because what's he said? They're putting in the fastest lap. Damon the Shark, he put in the fastest lap in the last lap at 19.5. He's that all black car you can see in the background too. Well, certainly one thing at the moment that Matty would see in the mirrors, but I think Matt is looking forward at the moment. He's just trying to catch down Scott Paranis, who's the Triple Eight machine. Once again, Quantum Pex Racing seems to have a lot of their key players, key drivers up the top of the time sheets.
Absolutely, and plenty of entries from QPR here. You see Matt Vanderkraan holding a steady 200k an hour through that series of chicanes, trying to keep Rick Vergar with him, but not wanting to let Scotty Perrins get away too far in front. As we see him coming back down.
P2 brewing up as well too, my
Let's
friend.
take a look ahead, and here comes Tyrone Anderson, Peter Latham right behind him, and Troy Sipple right on his tail. Here we go down the back straight. So this is the battle for P2 on screen right now. Anderson out in front over Latham at the moment, but Sipple right behind. Here goes Latham with the move up alongside.
And he's got, if you do see it on that front right fender, he's got a little bit of damage at the moment too.
Yeah, and that's not surprising.
Yeah, Tyrone.
Tyrone's he's held it together, but only just. It's cost him a few positions, but he's done really well to hang on to that through the grass. It does unfortunately see him back down to P8. What it does mean, though, is that Troy Sipple, no longer distracted, can focus everything on Peter Latham, just 7/10 ahead, and he's got still a second back to Scott Perrins. Now, I reckon there's a good chance here that Scotty Perrins will be doing everything he can while he's got some fuel in the tank to slow Matt Vanderkraan down and just keep some distance between the very fast Ford Mustang GT there, and his teammate Troy Sippel, who's at the moment really well positioned to potentially take out a podium. I'm not going to say a win just yet, but I am going to say a potential podium if he can hold it together. Well supported there with Perrins behind him at this point, but Perrins is going to have to think about a pit stop. We're hitting the halfway point of this race, so he is going to have to make a pit stop at some stage, but he's got 11 laps to fit that in, so plenty of time still up his sleeve.
Yeah, Jared, have you said that there's enough gas to go to the end of those pit stops that they took back on lap 2 under
they
that
absolutely
caution safety car?
Absolutely.
Well, then Troy's got this one in, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes in his bag, because the rest of those drivers up the road there, of course, Stephen and Peter, they've got, that's a give or take about a 39, 38 second pit stop there. That's a drop back to 21st, 22nd.
Yeah, it's a long
that's a lot of cars to start overtaking, regardless of how quick you are.
Yeah, and that's particularly the pace these guys are getting around this track. It's only a minute 20.
Innocent going in.
Yeah, so he'll
Tyrone's going in after that little bit of damage that he has on. I think he's going to be fixing it. But this will give you an indication where Tyrone was hovering around that.
Well, that's Matt Vanderkraan. Has Vanderkraan just run wide there? He has. So he's run off just trying to push too hard there, and Rick Vigars made the way through, but Vanderkraan's now sandwiched back here in between Viggar and Burridge. So that's going to give Scott Perrins even more space. That gap was only 1 second to Vanderkraan, now out to 1.3 after that issue. And the M1 Racing Team entries of Burridge and Daly right behind those Angry Birds cars. They'll be looking to make a move up this straight as well, I reckon. Let's keep an eye on this one.
Stephen, I'm just having a look at gap for leader actually. Stephen Varga, who's leading this race, is get back to his... he needs to be doing about half a second lap to a second lap quicker than Troy Sippel if he wants to maintain that P1. Yeah, he's got 10 old laps to get it done, but that's a tall order.
That is a huge order. He'll be pretty frustrated he didn't take the pit under safety car, I reckon.
I did say at the top of the show, didn't I, my friend? I said that strategy will very much decide the outcome. Who's going to come on top today?
Oh, it absolutely does, as we see the drivers heading through turn 1 once again here at Road Atlanta. Lap 13 of 22 in this first race this evening. And that's Rick Viggar getting very sideways, trying to close the gap to Scott Perrins. But those M1 entries, Burridge and Daly all over the back of Vanderkraan here. So we'll stick with that as the race up in front starts to space out just a little. Vanderkraan lost a little bit of pace there with that incident. He doesn't seem to be able to pull away from Burridge or Daly as he locks that wheel up coming into turn 6 there, I think it is. And then onto the back
you're right,
straight.
but it's crucial for him to get some good points here because the likes of our last race winner, of course, Travis Hunt is down in P14 at the moment, dropped 9 positions to the start of the race, being caught out in that pit stop strategy. So, if you're like
just making contact, with the back of Scott Perrins. Don't know if you saw that one there, Biggles, but Viggar's just made contact and has made his way through there. Perrins has backed out of it, but Viggar absolutely had the pace. So Vanderkraan, though, has caught right back up to Perrins. So right up against each other there again.
Oh, it's going to be Chris as well to win this mix, my friend. 3 into 1 is not going to work into turn 1.
Turn 1. Oh, these guys, look, they do give each other, I'll say plenty of racing room, but it's just enough. Thankfully, a lot of respect in this field, and they do try and keep it very clean. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. And turn 1 there, it's not exactly a particularly friendly corner. Look at them coming through here out of the series of chicanes and onto this mini straight. Perrins is doing everything he can to hold them at bay, just to give Troy Sippel the very best chance to put some distance on them, and he's continuing to do it. Sippel's now opened up a 3-second gap to Rick Viggar here, and Scott Perrins actually starting to track Viggar down. But have a look at the train we've got here from P4 right back through to P11 with Simon Haynes on the back of this train of cars. So here they come. The M1 guys alongside each other into the chicane.
Leaders in.
Okay, so Stephen Varga making his pit stop. Let's see if he's followed in.
We'll see if Peter follows him in too, because Peter is... No, Peter didn't. He stayed out for another
So
lap.
Scott Perrins has gone in now, so he is out of the run of cars there. Won't be able to provide any more assistance to Troy Sipple. As we see this pack.
And then you watch all those cars come by. Yeah, he's going to come back out. I think P18. Yes, he will. If Steve can get on the gas pedal anytime now. Yeah.
So a lot
P18.
to catch up. That missed opportunity under safety car really costing him. He was hoping for another one, I'm sure, and it just hasn't come to pass. But this pack coming through here, starting to spread out just a little bit. Van der Kraan now losing touch with Vigar, and Troy Sipple continues to hold that 1 second advantage over Rick Vigar. None of these guys quite managing the pace to catch him, with only 6.5 laps left to run in race 1. As we come down the back straight once again, we'll take a look up ahead. This is Peter Latham, just over a second behind. There's Troy Sipple. So the gap continues to close as we go into 10A, 10B. This chicane, very, very difficult in these supercars.
Troy's go to... Yeah, Peter leading this one at the moment, but we know Peter has to go down the pit road again. So Troy's going to be catching him. I think Peter's got to put some bank laps in at the moment. If he wants to try to jump Stephen. Stephen had a pretty good lead on him before, didn't, about 7 seconds to change before he went and pit stop.
He did. Now, Stephen Varga already up to P16, we should add. So he's not hanging around back there. He wants to maximise the points this evening. But Troy Sipple still can't quite close the gap at the moment to Latham, but he's still holding 3 seconds back to Rick Vigar. So fantastic news here for Troy Sipple if he can hold it together for just 6 more laps.
Philip Marsh comes in to get his pit stop, mandatory pit stop done. So that's it. The only person remaining on track that is yet to take that pit stop mandatory required one is Peter Latham, who is leading this race. So he will drop, and I'm predicting probably around P17. But I'd just take it all the way to lap 20 if you can, my friend. And he's doing currently 20.
Just some advice, sorry to cut you off here, Biggles. Race control just advising the lap 1 incidents coming through. So we just saw a drive-through for car number 64. That's Joseph Granshaw, because of his contact with car 666 on lap 1. Tyrone Anderson also copying a drive-through for his contact with car 56, Peter Sattler, earlier on as well. So that's certainly going to have ruined their first race, I'm sure. And a third actually coming through from lap 1. Mark Peck is copying a 10-point penalty for passing under the safety car, which is, of course, a very big no-no. As we see Troy Sipple starting to close the gap now to Latham, down to 8 tenths, but still a 3.3 second gap back to Rick Vigar. So he's making progress. Vigar's making progress, but Vigar's only making progress on Latham. He's not closing that gap to Sipple. Matt van der Kraan, meanwhile, just cannot seem to get the pace he needs tonight.
No, not quite yet. Well, if you're running out of time a little bit too, because we're 17 down out of 22, so it'll take about 5 to go. Still, the Hornet's Nest at the moment is from your P5 downwards. Travis leading that pack and Chris Burridge there. Whoop, there's a switcheroo at the moment there, so Travis Daly. And
Daly going through
on Matty.
On Matt van der Kraan. Now, that's interesting.
There you go. Peter's gone in from the race lead. We knew he was going to go in at some point, so
that happened.
I don't think he's going to beat Steve Varga.
No, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Mark Peck maybe, P17.
So let's see what Trav Daly might be able to do here. But this lineup, Rick Vigar, Trav Daly, then Matt van der Kraan, Chris Burridge, Damon Fisher, Steve Kennedy, Simon Haynes, all so close together. And then quite a bit of space back to P9 with Daniel Sheriff. So this train will have to work together if they want any shot at the podium. Troy Sipple now out in front and are still maintaining his fairly comfortable gap. Here we go down the mini straight. No moves coming here. It's a tough one. You've really got to have the lineup right to try and make anything stick through this corner, but then onto the back straight. It's all about the drive and getting traction onto the main straight to maximise your speed down to the chicanes at the end. And what little aero there is available, making the most of that if you can here, as we'll probably see Simon Haynes looking to make a move at the back of this pack. He seems to be just close enough to Steve Kennedy that he might have a shot at it. Also Chris Burridge on Matt Vanderkraan. Oh, he had to think about it. He's definitely looking for that move, but couldn't quite pull it off. As we see a big pass there, Daniel Sheriff's trying to hold Peter Sattler off, and he's managed to do so in the background. But this train continues. It's great to watch, and look, Troy Sippel's going to be very happy with this, because the longer they're fighting back here, the more chance of him holding that gap out in front. What we will call out though, Trav Daly and Rick Vigor are starting to pull away from Chris Burridge. Daly's really closed the gap up to Vigor, and so he might be looking to get past, take P2 here. Let's keep a very close eye on this one.
Big battle for the second step, exactly. Rick seems to be holding off this attack at the moment. I've been kind of keeping my eyes a little bit on that one as well too. That's the 77 versus the 04. That's the Angry Birds versus M1 Racing. So we'll see. He's had some time in the spot. They are still maintaining that little bit of a gap back to Matt in P5, who's keeping off that big battles behind you as we're watching this.
Big slide in the background there. Simon Haynes putting the power down just a little too early, and Trav Daly probably cost himself a passing opportunity here. We saw him get a little bit loose coming onto the straight. That will cost him top end speed, and you cannot afford that if you want to make the move here. So he's going to have to hold off for next lap. These two though opening up almost a second gap to Chris Burridge, and he's opened up in turn a second back to Matt Vanderkraan in P5. So the front end of this field, look, they can all still see each other, but it's starting to space out again. Here's Trav Daly. He's looking to the outside, dips the wheels into the dirt, just filling the mirrors of Rick Vigor here, trying to put the pressure on and force a mistake. I reckon Daly's feeling a little bit held up here, and will be looking to make a move very, very soon if he can get there. But Chris Burridge taking the opportunity to catch up as well, as these two hold each other up in this battle. And what a battle it is through the chicanes. Really nose to tail through here. Got to be careful to avoid contact.
Oh, and up and over. The chicane's running out of the corner there. White's just going to be on a massive attack right now. A little bit of a mistake.
Vigor
Where is Travis going to go?
Very defensive, because he knows he had the slower line. You saw him get very loose out of the hill there.
Oh yeah,
big lock up as well. Here we go. Daly will have the run, I reckon.
Yeah, but they're going to catch these lap cars at the moment. Maybe at 10A. I think that's too far back on that one. That's going to be close. They're going to be catching on Paps, and they're going to get them on the main straight down into the technical section. So let's see how that's going to pan out.
This is going to cause some issues, as we see again. Vigor goes defensive. Daly backs it off. He's just going to try and get a better run.
Locked up. It's gone
straight over the grass. Now Daly's going to have to be careful here.
Yep.
Oh, Vigor's going to have to give up these spots to avoid.
Yeah, he moved off the racing line. Good job.
Good call. Yep, and this is what I love about this series. Everyone knows the rules, and they look to be respectful about it. However, by the look of Vigor, that's an iRacing imposed penalty that he's got for cutting that. He's dropping well back, so that's not just redressing that issue, that's also him trying to clear that iRacing penalty. Tell you what, 2 laps to go, it's shaping up.
Travis getting the overtake too on Daniel, and then Daniel taking it back to down Sheriffs as well. So that's a battle for P10, which is crucial, of course, for Travis Hunt and keeping that one in his championship hunt. There you go.
Absolutely. If he can get past Daniel Sheriffs again here, it'll put him at P1 for the reverse top 10 in race number 2. So we'll keep an eye on this as well, as Trav Daly starts to desperately try and close down the gap, but short of an error from Troy Sippel, I don't think he's going to close 3.5 seconds in a single lap, and Chris Burridge can't quite stick with him either. So Daniel Sheriff's here looking to hold off Travis Hunt.
Stephen Varga getting past as well too for P13, as Troy's going to be coming around to start, I would imagine, the last lap of the race. Yes,
so there's the white flag. So Troy Sippel out in front. Behind him there is not one of his competitors. That's Luke Powell back in P26. So the gap back to Trav Daly still 3.5 seconds. Troy Sippel, hold it together, my man. You've got this in the bag. I was having a chat to Troy off air just before we went live this evening, and we were talking about his chances tonight. He did say he finished here pretty well last season, so he's looking to repeat that, but was a little concerned about the pace of some of these other races tonight. It hasn't bothered him. He's played a fantastic game of strategy here, and assuming that... What's happened here?
Sorry, Damon's just got past both the Angry Birds racing team, just absolutely annihilated like an extra gear there.
Let's have a look.
Wow.
What's happened here? This is coming out of the chicanes. Oh, he's just got a fantastic line and just gone straight past Rick Vigor.
Oh, you got a different livery then. I just noticed I have a completely different livery on Daniel there. Damon. Anyway, Troy should be coming around the final couple of corners now, my friend, to take the first race.
As he comes out of the chicane and down the last hill, if he can just keep it on the track here, makes it look easy. Troy Sipple takes out race number 1. A fantastic drive from him. Trav Daly and Chris Burridge, P2 and P3 behind. Matt Vanderkraan, unfortunately, just not his day. Couldn't keep it together, but does manage to hold off Rick Vigor, finishing fast behind him. Steve Kennedy, 0.09, almost takes Vigor, but not quite, unfortunately. So Troy Sipple, a fantastic first race this evening. A lot of very close finishes there, but yeah, Steve Kennedy will be a little disappointed that he didn't manage a better finish to take P5 from Rick Vigor as well. As we see everybody just coming through on that cool down lap. So let's take a look at the results from race number 1. Troy Sipple. My apologies, we just had a bit of a burnout happening in the background there. Here we go, the results. Race number 1, Troy Sipple taking P1 for QPR, followed by Trav Daly, a solid 3 seconds clear behind. Then Chris Burridge taking out P3 there as well. So fantastic finish for the QPR entry. Matt Vanderkraan, look, wasn't to be in race 1 here. Ended up with P4, which is nothing to sneeze at, but he would have been hoping for a lot more given some of his drives this evening. Rick Vigor in 5, Steve Kennedy finishing in 6, just behind. Then Simon Haynes, Damon Fisher, Sheriffs and Sattler rounding out the top 10. As our data starts to update there, we'll just bring in from our green room, Troy Sipple. How are you feeling, my friend?
A fluke, I think, but good, feel good.
Mate, we were talking off air before we kicked off tonight, and you were a little unsure of how you go against some of these drivers. You've made that look pretty convincing with a 3-second win.
Yeah, I think the pit strategy kind of worked. I kind of went straight in as soon as the safety. I was just in the right spot at the right time, I think. But it was good I stayed ahead of him. I was getting a bit worried about 7 laps towards the end there and saw Rick and Maddie and that coming up. So I thought, just don't look and just keep going. So, and it paid off. So, yeah, real happy.
Head down, bum up, well done. And, mate, I will take luck over skill any day of the week. However, you've got both in spades tonight. A very, very solid P1. Well done. Go and celebrate that with the team, mate.
Beautiful. Thanks, mate. Talk to you soon. Cheers,
Troy. And we'll bring in our second place finisher, Trav Daly. You kind of came out of nowhere a little bit there towards the end, and a tasty little P2 to top off your first race.
I know. I surprised myself. I got good pace. I was kind of thinking I'd be in the top 5, but I was not expecting that. But no, car felt great, and yeah, I was comfortable.
Good to hear. And look, certainly some fast numbers being put down. It's just a shame you couldn't get through a little earlier, because you were starting to make some inroads on Troy there, but a little too late, unfortunately, tonight.
I was saying to my teammate, probably another 2, 3, maybe 4 laps we would have had him, but unfortunately we rolled the dice and pitted on the safety car, and I think it was just a little bit too much on the tyres. But other than that, now it was a decent race.
Done, Trav, and go celebrate P2 with the team. Well earned, and a great drive. Looking forward to seeing you in the second race this evening.
No, cheers for that, boys.
And Biggles, I think we'll hand over to you here. Chris Burridge joins the room as well.
How's it going?
Yes, Chris. How was that first stint?
Yeah, good fun. Yeah, like Troy had it in the bag. He did really well. I think. So me and Trav sort of tried to catch him, but yeah, definitely ran out of time, I guess. Yeah.
You showed some serious pace there as well too. I'm not quite sure if who got the fastest lap on that previous one there, but you guys were getting down to the 19s at some point as well too. And so you're confident going into this race that you'll have what it takes to perhaps get yourself on a podium, if not the race win?
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, there's always that temptation to sort of push back towards the 10 there, so you can get further up the grid. But we'll just see how we go. Yes.
Well done, Chris, and enjoy the P3, mate. You'll be starting a little bit further back in the pack than that with the reverse grid, but bit of faith, and looking forward to hopefully speaking to you again afterwards. Let's see how we go, hey?
Awesome. Thanks, Jared.
Good stuff. Cheers, Chris. Chris Burridge there, finishing out in P3. And before we jump into the next race, let's take a quick look at the remainder of the grid. So Trav Hunt in 11th will finish, unfortunately, just outside the standings needed to bring him back to a pole. Gary Buckland and Stephen Varga, unfortunately, the safety car not playing the way that Varga would have liked. Stoyles in 14, Jason Dunn back in 15th, Peter Latham, and then QPR filling the grid from 17th through 20th with Peck, Sipple, Perrins and Rose all finishing together, and then Todd Martin as well in P21. Michael Hayes, the Nova Sim Sports entry, Joseph Granshaw, Matt Wicks, Anita Buckland back in 25th, Luke Powell and Anderson 26th and 27th. A lap down, as well as Phil Marsh and James Hardy from Granny Spec Racing, rounding out the 29 starters for that race. So yeah, quite an eventful one. Thankfully only the one safety car, but we've got it all to do in race number 2 in just a moment's time as the drivers just start to strap back in and get their helmets adjusted. Any thoughts after race 1, watching these guys punt it around, Biggles?
Well, it was a good day for the M1 racing team because I realized, just reviewing everything, that both Travis Daly and Chris did start in those positions, P2 and P3 on the grid. They finished in P2, P3. Was any difference, of course, with the race winner on that one. So they can consider those good, strong results. They'll be looking good. As I said, they only need to go up one more step and get themselves a race win and course in the reverse grid. They have bits of work to do on that one, but once again, the pace is there, clearly from the qualifying and race results.
Absolutely it is, and look, can't argue with some solid points so early in the season, and thankfully keeping their noses relatively clean insofar as the race control review is concerned. So we see the drivers just getting ready to grid up here again, and of course the reverse top 10 here is what's in play. So let's take a look at the grid for race number 2 this evening. So reverse top 10 sees Vanderkraan and Daly taking P1, P2, Chris Burridge and Damon Fisher 3rd and 4th, and Trav Hunt and Dan Sheriffs in the 3rd row. Stephen Varga and Steve Kennedy rounded out with Simon Haynes and Troy Sipple back in P10. There might have been a few points or penalties applied there, I suspect, to just mix that up, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Rick Vigar and James Hardy 11 and 12. And then Stoyles and Sattler, Perrins and Buckland, Granshaw and Anderson rounding out 17 and 18. As we see Dylan Sipple and Hayes 19 and 20, Peck, Dunn, Martin and Latham further back. Anita Buckland and Luke Powell alongside each other ahead of Matt Wicks. And then Nick Hauser not racing tonight, Craig Rose starting from a little further back, as well as Philip Marsh. Unfortunately, some late incidents there. So we get ready to go here as the grid starts to fill. We're just waiting on the last couple drivers, by the look of things here, to jump in before we set off for race number 2. Another 22 laps, another compulsory pit stop. What do you reckon? Are we seeing a safety car early on this time around again?
Well, I mean, the dress rehearsal's over, isn't it? It's time for the main event. They'll probably be a little bit more brisket for the biscuits scenario, of course, in the second race, because they realise they want to maximise some points. So chances of safety car higher, definitely, than the first race.
Much higher chance of safety car than rain this evening, I am sure, as the drivers look to the starter. We must be getting close. So the grid looks to be fairly full. So just waiting now on race control to say that we can go live. And here we are. They have the lights. We're under starters orders. Lights are red. And we're green, green, green. A little bit of a creep there from Damon Fisher, and he's had to overcompensate to not jump the start. And we come down again towards turn 1, 2, 3 wide, everyone jockeying for position. This is always dangerous. But everyone getting through fairly cleanly as we head up the hill again for race number 2 here in round 2 of the ASR V8 Supercars series for the latter half of 2024. And everyone's settling into a line fairly quickly, which is nice to see. It might mean that we get a clean first lap here, Biggles.
Yep, that it does. I'm just looking through the field at the moment, and absolutely, yeah, the Quantum QPR teams are all practically line of stones. I believe in seeing 5 of those cars in the midfield at the moment too. So first rule, don't take your teammates out, and so far they're doing good.
It's a tricky one, right? Everyone's very competitive, of course, but you don't want to be the one to go back into the team sheds later and have to apologise to 3 or 4 of your teammates if you do take them out when they're all so closely packed together. As we see Matt Vanderkraan probably looking here to make a move. He goes up the inside of Rick Viggar. Here they come down to 10A, 10B, these chicanes. The first real passing opportunity on lap 1. And he's made that move fairly comfortably in the end. As we see the QPR boys going too wide back there as well. And is that Mark Peck that's had a slide? No, Dylan Sipple, I think, has come off track there. Or is it
Matt Wicks as well?
Matt Wicks and Joseph Granshaw? That's unfortunate.
Oh, we have another spin further up the road too. That's Tyrone Anderson, Craig Rose Jedi as well.
Let's have a quick look there and just catch back up with what's happened. So Tyrone Anderson through 10B. There's a huge collision there. So
we've got another collision further up as well too. It's all going pearl-shaped at the moment. I think we may be close to getting a caution, car safety car coming out here.
I suspect so. There is carnage everywhere, unfortunately, and this is the nature. As we've got another QPR car off in the background there. That looks like, is that Jason Dunn? Todd Martin further back there in P21. So we are all over the shop now. But so far holding out now. We'll see if the safety car does come out ahead of Simon Haynes here. I suspect it might, but it does look as though everyone's got it rolling. In amongst all of that, though, Matt Vanderkraan puts the move on up the inside, and he takes P1 from Simon Haynes.
Wow, what a move.
So, yeah, fantastic move there into the chicane. And it is one of the
we know
few
he has
pass
serious pace,
well,
don't we?
Because, we absolutely
he set
do.
the fastest lap by qualifying by 2/10 than everybody else, so don't let him get too far up the road there, Mr. Simon Haynes. But
Steve Kennedy further back may just be a bit of clear air, but P3, so latching onto the back there, has just set a 1:20.5 as the fastest lap so far this race. So keep an eye on him, the M1 entry in P3 here, followed by his teammates, Chris Burridge and Trav Daly. So M1 dominating the front half of this field at this point in time. 3 laps in, we've avoided safety cars so far despite a number of incidents. It's not the start they would have hoped for, but it is underway in race 2.
And Damon the Shark Fisher had elected to go on pit road as well too. So after he went off track, and he just said, "Look, let me get that pit stop over and done with, and see how it pans out later on." Of course, perhaps there could be another caution safety car that comes out, but it'll drop him down. Piece 26 at the top of the timesheet. Matt starting to pull away in here, right? Half a second already. As I said, it's going to be a very angry bird, a very quick bird, if he can continue to lead this race.
Look, he's certainly got the pace this evening as we see them coming through 10A, 10B yet again. Let's take a look back, though, at that massive incident that all started with Dylan Sipple, I believe, just having some issues up ahead. So this is further back. We're watching Matt Wicks here. A bit of contact there has spun Granny Spec Racing, and then further up. So this is an entirely different incident just behind. But then, of course, Dylan Sipple, this is what kicked it all off just up ahead. He's gone up the inside, tried to make the pass. I think a bit of netcode there, actually, making contact, and then, unfortunately, nowhere to go, just smash in front. Oh, that's the 64 entry there of Joseph Granshaw getting bounced off to the left. So that will have caused some serious damage as well. Not the start to the night.
He should have been on the brakes. I'm not quite sure if he was on the brakes, because the car was rolling forward on that one back onto the racing line. So to me, he should have been heavy on the handbrake on that one so that you weren't rolling in there. But then again, I'm not quite sure. That's up to the stewards to look at. They can look at all different angles and and look at telemetry from the drivers to see what's happening, as about another one attempt that Matt's pulled away from Simon for the lead of this race.
Yeah, I did notice that that he did roll back onto track there, so we'll keep an eye on the race control messages coming through, because I'm with you on that one. I wonder if they're going to just ask a few questions about the extra carnage caused there, unfortunately, by Dylan Sipple.
Travis is putting it on Troy Sipple as well too, and that's about for P6.
So we see them coming into turn one here. Troy Sipple, a bit of a lock up on that rear right. That's going to give Trav Hunt an opportunity to get some pace up the hill, but not really anywhere to pass through here. That's the challenge. These cars are physically huge. You don't really have to try to make them a wide car on the track. They just are by nature. And so you really don't have that many passing opportunities like you would in something a bit smaller, like your open wheelers, perhaps.
Yeah, to force them into a mistake by filling their mirrors full of your car. That's the key, isn't it? Exactly what Travis is trying to play, that psychological game with Sips. That's on the back of his, that's his nickname, obviously, Troy Sipple. He's got Sips there on his racing spoiler wing.
Bit of a slide there as he puts the power down, looking for that extra pace. It's not going to be enough, though. This will be Trav Hunt right in behind. He'll be looking to make a move. And further up the field, Chris Burridge all over the back of Steve Kennedy. The M1 guys, what are they going to do here? So the three M1 cars, Kennedy, Burridge, Daly, swapping it around, but still Vanderkraan and Haynes out in front, as we see Troy Sipple desperately trying to hold off Travis Hunt behind. But here comes Travis Hunt down the inside and onto the main straight, onto the home straight at least, and he'll take that position into P1. But Sipple still only a tenth off the back, so he'll be looking for an opportunity to gain that back. Stays very, very close through turn one. And we are back off and up over the hill again on lap 6 of this 22-lap second race. Not a bunch of pit stops so far. No early ones really happening, bar the vehicles that were
Michael
damaged.
Haynes just came in.
Well, there you go. There you go. So that makes him number 5 to go in. The early ones, Damon Fisher, Joseph Granshaw, Craig Rose and Dylan Sipple, all have a stop to their name, but unfortunately that'll be due to damage from that early incident, I suspect.
Yes,
and
sir.
so it's hopefully they've still got the fast repair up the sleeves there. They should do, I believe. So it won't have cost them too much time, but Dylan Sipple finds himself a long way back, having been lapped already. Not the night he would have been hoping for, but it continues. We'll keep an eye on these 3 M1 cars. Now, really, we like to try and show who's who with the liveries here on screen, but when they're all M1 cars, all I can tell you is that's Burridge in front, Steve Kennedy followed by Trav Daly. They all look the same, and it does make for a hell of a sight on the road, doesn't it?
Yeah, do they have sometimes different mirrors or wheel rims or something like that, just to tame a little bit of a difference between them for the spectators?
They do generally, and all you're looking for really is the difference in wheel colour is about the only thing to tell them apart. When we did have the Sandown 500, they were entered as M1 red and M1 blue entries based purely on the colour of their wheels, and you might see if we get a look here, the number 55 Steve Kennedy running the red wheels tonight. But I think Trav Daly might also be in a red wheel entry as well. So honestly, the best you can do with these 3 as they look to close the gap, but Simon Haynes and Matt Vanderkraan starting to pull away here. The best you can really do. We've got black wheels, red wheels, red wheels. So that's something. It doesn't help a lot, I know. Sorry, Biggles, I'm doing everything I can here to help you tell them apart.
Right.
But as a team, they're looking very, very well put together.
Yes, as well as the M1 team, because they're Linus Stern 3rd, 4th and 5th too, so working together, perhaps trying to get themselves a nice podium. Troy Sipple, of course, for the QPR race winner in race number 1. He's up 3 positions at P7, so got an opportunity once again. We're talking to all these drivers from 1st to 22nd have yet to go down in pit road as well too, so we still have many strategies. Speaking of which, somebody just jumped in the pit road. I think that's Daniel Sheriff. He did too.
He has,
so,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the strategy begins here in race number 2. I must apologise to our viewers as well. We did have a bit of a technical hitch there where we didn't have audio available of the V8s on car. That should be fixed up for you now, so enjoy the sounds of these V8 Supercars as they make their way around Road Atlanta here tonight in the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercar Series. Round 2, again brought to you by Simple Racing Broadcasts and all of our usual sponsors with our wonderful race control, keeping an eye on everything. And so far, Dean, not a whole lot to report from a race control perspective. Been pretty clean and tidy the whole way through.
Daniel comes out in P19, so he's just behind James Hardy there and Nicol Photography as well. So keep an eye peeled on that one because he's now the lead pit stopper, but in P19.
That's interesting.
Stop around here.
Did he actually make a stop, or was that a drive-through?
It's a drive-through. Sorry, I apologise on that one. Yes, it's a drive-through. It's not counted as a full stop.
That's interesting. I wonder what's happened there, because that's not a, as far as I can tell, that's not a race control imposed drive-through for him. No, it is. It is. I'm afraid he has copped a black flag from race control there.
Oh, big contact at the moment between Jason Dorbang and Jason Dunn and Mark Perk in this battle for 13th and 14th. I think Mark just got the job done. Yes, he has. Dorbang his way past there. P13.
Let's take a quick look back at that. It's always a bit of fun to pick these up a little further down the field as we see Jason Dunn and Mark Peck going at it down towards the chicane, and Dunn really a fantastic inside line, plenty of speed and late on the brakes. Mark Peck not hanging around. And yeah, side by side up over this hill is always a tricky one, so Dunn's just gone a bit wide, and that's allowed Peck to hang on to that spot there as well. So back into it, and this is the battle for P13, so plenty going on right up and down through the field as Van der Kraan extends his lead out in front to a couple of seconds now over Simon Haynes. Let's take a look though. Steve Kennedy has Trav Daly creeping up behind, but Trav Hunt closing the gap on these M1 racing entries. He'll be looking to make it past the three of them and try and get back out in front, I am sure.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone into pit road, actually.
He
just set the fastest lap, and I think he might be felt compromised by them. Plus, they can work together as a team too. Perhaps they may be using Travis to be the blocker. And at that point, he said, no, I'm not having anything to do with that. We went to pit road there, so he should drop him back out. I'll try to keep an eye on telemetry to find out where he's going to back out.
But as we continue now, lap 10, these races go very, very quickly. It's almost the halfway point here of race 2 tonight. We're starting to see the pit stops happening. The strategy is coming into play. But out in front here, we are keeping an eye. That's Matt Van der Kraan just leaving the bottom of the screen. And then Simon Haynes, all he's going to see in the rear view is a sea of yellow as the three M1 racing entries of Burridge, Kennedy and Daly bear down. All three fighting for P3 there at the moment, but they'll be looking for a way to hopefully make it an all M1 podium in just 12 laps time. So we do have some information coming through from race control on a number of penalties, so bear with us as we check out just what's happened with all of those penalties. So a drive-through for Dylan Sippel, look, not surprised. That's based on his rejoin earlier on. We did comment on that when it happened, and race control, of course, picking up on that and sending him for a drive-through. And then Daniel Sheriffs, we saw that drive-through just a moment ago. That's from a lap 2 contact with car number 56, which was, of course, not 56, sorry. Car 056, my apologies, with Peter Sattler.
So we got pit stops as well too.
So
we got all the QPR racing team coming in. Troy Sippel came in, Stephen Barger came in, Mark Perk and Scott Perrins just all came in to follow them. So QPR deciding, let's start boxing. Apart from Simon Haynes just up into P2 at the moment, they've elected to keep him out for another lap or two.
Now what we're starting to see here up front, Chris Burridge managing to hang on to the back of Haynes, but it's starting to open up a bit of a gap to Daly and Kennedy. I wonder if that's a strategy play or if it is actually just that they don't have the pace here, or they're trying to extend the gap to their pit stop a little, because it's a bit unusual that we'd see them starting to allow that kind of gap to open up at the top end of the field at this point in the race.
That's true. I'm keeping an eye too on Travis Hunt because he's kind of right behind a gaggle of cars here. He's already made.
Here we go. Simon Haynes and Chris Burridge going in, as is.
It's contact. Sorry, we'll go back and look at that one in a minute.
Who's that we've just lost there? We'll try and catch that one.
He's okay. He's just got past, but there was a bit of a contact between Travis, James Hardy, and Daniel Sheriff. We're seeing some of the other drivers come in, as you mentioned, that Chris Burridge there, Travis Daly, and Simon Haynes are in pit road.
So all going on right throughout the field. This is the problem, isn't it? Trying to capture all of this at once when it is such a busy field and so much going on. As we see the M1 entries, Trav Daly, Burridge trying to make it out now. Oh, Burridge side by side. He's going to have to let Haynes get out in front there. As they rejoin.
Fast cars coming around the corner as well too.
Still in the top 10. Jeez, that is close. But it does mean a bit of a change to the order on track. However, Simon Haynes currently holding the lead in terms of cars that have made their stop. So Van der Kraan going to be looking to make a very, very quick run here, as we see.
Keep your eyes peeled on Travis getting past Daniel. I think it was there too.
Oh yeah, and a bit of contact there, perhaps from Daniel Sheriff's as he
race leaders in
his way past. Okay, so Van der Kraan's into the pits now. So let's keep
this is
an
going
eye
to
on
be
this.
super close. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to clear Simon Haynes, who's the net leader of pit stops. So that's
Let's keep a very close eye on this. Yeah, here we go. So we are watching Simon Haynes. He is the effective race leader at this point based on the pit stops.
Simon Haynes is coming down the main straight now.
So he's just coming around onto the home straight as the Granny Spec Racing entry enters the pits. Here he comes. Where is Van der Kraan?
Van der Kraan's exiting pit road now.
So will
Simon
Haynes have the
coming around
pace
corner,
here?
A bit close. No, I think, yep, Matty's just got him.
He has. Van der Kraan's made it back out in front. That's a fantastic pit stop from the Angry Birds team to keep him out in the effective lead. And so Van der Kraan will be very, very happy with that. Haynes, unfortunately, just didn't quite have the pace he needed as they do catch up to one of the lapped QPR cars there.
Yeah, very kindly moved out of the way too.
Yeah, number 13, Craig Rose, carrying quite a bit of damage, I think, which is unfortunate. Simon Haynes, though, finds himself back behind as we look like we have a safety car coming out.
Oh,
we do.
whoa.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to work out perfectly for Stephen Kendi, perhaps, and Gary should definitely go box. Okay, so they're in the leaders here. This is going to be super, super close. They're slowing the pack down. Is Matty still at full speed? Yes, he is.
So we'll see some of these cars getting past as the safety car just pulls off and waits to pick up the leaders as they make their way around. So Steve Kennedy's just started his first. So he's actually in. He's pitted now. So that's a great choice. Here comes Van der Kraan. He's still going full noise, but he's going to have to jump on the brakes shortly as he catches very quickly up to that safety car.
Matty's got it.
Oh, it won't even be close. He's well out in front there. So here they come, catching up on the safety car now. Well, 14 laps in, we see a safety car. I have to wonder what's actually set that off. We've had a bit of an incident with Matt Wicks just prior to that, so let's go back and take a look. Who's that off to the side there? That is the 167 entry, 187 rather, of Michael Hayes. So I suspect that's what's brought on the safety car. Let's go and take a look and see if we can catch just what's happened to find him off to the side there. And it doesn't look like there's been any contact. He's just been on his own. And lost it coming out of there. So it's an easy mistake to make, unfortunately. We'll see if we can catch a better view of that.
Yeah, he's car stricken too on the into the fence. So
it's just he's lost it over that chicane, and unfortunately has ended up with him well and truly in the wall. We just can't quite get a good shot of it, unfortunately. But there he is, a car heavily damaged, and he'll be getting a tow back to pit lane. As we see the field bunching up again behind the Ford Mustang GT3 safety car this evening. We're back into processional mode here.
It's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Keep our eyes on The safety car, I think we'll probably have another lap, maybe 2 here under safety car conditions as they sort out all of the lap drivers. We see 1, 2 of those lap cars, 3 of those lap cars getting waved past now. So the safety car just holding the crew up, and those guys will be very happy to pick up a lap there. I'd say that's probably Sipple, Wicks and Rose would be my guess. We didn't quite catch the numbers on the way through, but those 3 looking for opportunities to get back on the lead lap, and will rejoin at the end of this safety car pack on the lead lap again here. So they'll be pretty happy with that, I'm sure.
There's still quite a few cars that have to catch the rest of the pack. We're looking at 26th, 27th, 28th, and I think 29th just got the tow. So Matt did. They eventually had towed that car back to pit road. So they still have to catch up to our race leaders that are coming around to turn 1 now. And the rest of the field are just getting into sector 2.
As we take a look at the pit stops on the ticker there, on our timing tower, we can see that the top 10, with the exception of Daniel Sheriffs, have all completed their first pit stop, their mandatory pit stop for this evening. So taking Daniel Sheriffs out of this, really, he'll have to make a pit stop sometime before the last lap in just 7 laps' time. We are looking at what is a pretty accurate race order here, I suspect, as we wait for the safety car to indicate its intentions. Coming through a section of the track much slower than we ordinarily would. It's always a little painful. Yeah, it's always a little painful to watch the supercars going at this sort of pace, isn't it? Just doesn't seem like their natural habitat. And hey, if your car is running a little slower than it should, why not visit AA West Automotive? They're based in Mulgrave, New South Wales, a fantastic sponsor here of Alliance Sim Racing. They do provide trustworthy advice and services for residents in the Hawkesbury and have decades of automotive experience under their belts. So if your car is behaving like this without a safety car in front of it, perhaps consider visiting aawestautomotive.com.au as we see the safety car putting the foot down and we are getting ready to go green once again. So control with Matt Vanderkraan. He'll have to hold this pace right through until we come over the hill just after 10A and 10B chicanes. So let's see how he decides to lead them out here. It's a
barely any
long
teammates
way.
at play as well too. So they're right, kind of all mixed over. You've got Angry Birds Racing, M1. You've got QPR, you've got M1. You've got JWM, a Sim Sport. You've got Daniel Sheriffs with showing none at the moment, but an M1 Racing, Quant, QPR. So yeah, it's all mixed over the place. So you're not really going to have teammates to be able to help you out in this one. You're on your own. You're going to get the job done. 15 lap, we are lap 15 of course. We get down to about 6 or 7 to go when we go green. Daniel Sheriffs as well too. He is currently running a P6. Did he make his pit stop? Because that was a drive-through. I think he still hasn't done his
Correct. He's had the drive-through but hasn't made his pit stop. And here we go, Matt Vanderkraan getting ready. He's holding them well back here. So bit of a strategic play. Steve Kennedy's pretty keen to get rolling. And there goes Matt Vanderkraan. He's tried to get the jump and he has made just a little bit of a gain on Kennedy. Caught napping just a little as we see them go 3, 4, 5 wide just further back here into turn 1. That is brave as, we're going too wide through turn 1. This is the old adage of safety cars breeding safety cars right here. If these guys don't sort themselves up, we're going to be straight back under safety car conditions. But they've all figured it out, and here we go again. Matt Vanderkraan already a second gap over Steve Kennedy. But plenty to do from here. 6 laps to go in this second race for this evening. Very, very loose back there. That looked like it might have been Daniel Sheriffs, perhaps, getting a bit loose over the back. But the M1 Racing guys have regrouped. We saw the 3 of them packed in pretty closely together. Simon Haynes has injected himself back in the middle. But Steve Kennedy and Chris Burridge out in front now. Simon Haynes all over the back of Burridge.
We've got a bit of a wreck at the back too. We've got at least 3 cars involved in that one. Looks like it might have been Matt Wicks. Jason.
Oh, and Haynes makes contact with Burridge. Burridge slides into his teammate.
Oh,
Steve
we have another
Kennedy.
big wreck as well, too, at the front again. This is the second time around we're getting wrecks after the other.
It's
I think
all
Chris
over the
Burridge
place.
as well.
Is the safety car coming out? We're watching. No, they're continuing the race at this point. So
Daniel's taking his pit stop that he had to take, so whether that'll pan out, whether we're on push. But still think it's green flag conditions. Simon Haynes putting massive pressure.
It
on
is for now.
Travis Daly,
Let's go back and take a look at some of those incidents because it's all happening here. This is Todd Martin a little further back in the pack. Big contact there from the QPR car behind. That is number 71, Todd Martin, who has been spun around there. But I think he's probably caused quite a bit of that carnage in amongst all that one, unfortunately. And then as we jump just a little further ahead, this is the contact. So we see Chris Burridge just, looked, look at that, those slides back into his teammate. That's unfortunate. I don't know what race control are going to make of this. I really don't. But here we go, back out in front. And everything still under green conditions for the moment as we see Simon Haynes bearing down on the last of the M1 racing cars left up in front after they did run each other off the road there. So he's only got Trav Daly to contest that with his teammate Stephen Varga along for the ride in P4 just behind. Matt Vanderkraan though, 4 seconds, a 1:18.9.
Wow,
I think that
that's
might be the
quick as
first
all
18
weekend.
we've seen tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is quicker than
Trav Hunt,
Travis
though.
has just punched up
Oh my
as well,
goodness. So the records don't stand for long. Trav Hunt, we know he's quick. We saw that last week in the second race, and he's saving it all for the end here as well as we enter the last 4 laps of race 2 here tonight. Lap 18 of 22. What can they do here? Matt Vanderkraan, though, his lead looking fairly unassailable at this point. Almost 4.5 seconds back to P2 Trav Daly. So Vanderkraan just out in front. Here's where the action's happening. The battle for P2. Trav Daly followed closely by Haynes and Varga from QPR. And then Trav Hunt, who just set the fastest lap of a 1:18.92. He'll be looking to make a move. He's going to have a fantastic run here on Varga. So let's keep an eye on these two and see what they've got as we come down towards 10A and 10B. One of the few great passing opportunities on this lap of Road Atlanta. God, this is going to be close.
He's going
I'll keep an eye on these
he's going
guys.
to tuck in behind, and he's going to take the sweep through here and get a good exit. There it is. Forcing Stephen into a little bit of a mistake. Gets on the exit, gets on the gas pedal, but then Stephen has covered off
Closes
a little
the
bit, deep
door.
down into the hill.
Oh, he's managed to hold him off, but I don't think he'll... So, Matt Vanderkraan, 1:18.8. He is going full noise here. 4.5
He's
seconds
gone
now.
up the road. This is why I perhaps that Travis Hunt, for example, here is getting the pedal to the metal because he realises damage limitation and the chunk of points he's going to be losing the championship at the moment in round 2 and get on the power at the moment. He's giving a little bit of a reminder to Stephen saying, get on with it, Vargsy. Get on with it, Vargsy.
Yeah, Vargs, he's quick, but Trav Hunt, is there contact? There's contact there.
Kept it. Wow.
Wow, the skill on show
lift.
there. They've lost a position, both of them, to Troy Sipple. But how masterful was that?
Yeah,
absolutely
100%.
unreal.
The driving from Vargs is amazing to keep that point in the right direction. And good for Travis to lift off a little bit too, otherwise he stopped pushing him into a complete turn, realised it's a my bad situation, but hey, it's racing, so you've got to get your elbows out every once in a while, especially if you're quick and you want to get past. But I'll tell you what, Vargs is saving and defending is doing pretty good.
That was incredibly impressive. As here we go, 10A, 10B, the QPR cars either side making an impenetrable wall for Trav Hunt. He'll be getting frustrated there because he knows he's got the pace now. And here we go, a bit of brake lock up there. Look at that. He's almost lost it there again. Wow. This is insane. And here we go. We've got Rick Vigar, Peter Latham right behind him as well. These guys have just got to settle it down. 3 laps to go. I know it's all to play for here, but they've got to make it to the end first. As Trav Hunt looking desperately for a way through. Trav Daly and Simon Haynes battling it out a little further up for P2. But the news here, look at this.
Now he's got to get past
very
Troy
sideways.
Sipple as well too, isn't he? Travis is desperately trying to get some gains up here at the moment.
He's doing everything he can, but the big news, these two battling for P2 here, Daly and Haynes, Haynes looking for a way past the M1 car. Matt Vanderkraan, 5.5 seconds. Absolute daylight out in front. He is walking away with this at this point as these two battle it out for P2. And then another huge gap back to Varga in P4. So he's got some real moves to make here if he wants to close that 3-second gap and get himself on the podium. Barring a mistake here, it's not looking likely, but anything can happen as we see Simon Haynes making the move into 10A. Makes it look easy. What can Trav Daly do on the exit, though, of the chicanes? Has he got the pace? It doesn't look like he can hold it there. Haynes making his run down towards the start-finish line. Now 2 laps to go. Trav Daly, he wants that position back. Here we go, turn 1. What have they got?
Not there, my friend. No. I'd say we're on the penultimate lap as well too, so unless I think Matty just crossed the line that one, so let's see. Travis going to back off a little bit through this now. I think you got to look at applying the pressure probably you've got to try to think about getting a good exit at turn 7 and then try to attack in the 10A.
Absolutely. Look at the train of cars further back, though. We will take a look at that as we come around onto the last lap if they're all still together, because that battle for P5 is 8 cars long right now, all separated by less than half a second between most of them. So here we go. It doesn't look like Daly's got the run he wanted there. That's going to leave too much gap to Simon Haynes. Now Haynes, we're expecting, will go defensive, I'm sure, but look at that gap he's opened up. Had a fantastic exit onto the back straight, but here comes Trav Daly. Is it going to be enough as we head down to the chicane again? He's going to have to be late on the brakes here to try and close it up. He's not going to get anywhere close. Simon Haynes starts to pull away again. One more lap as Matt Vanderkraan comes across the line. We'll see the white flag for these guys in the way through as well. Haynes and Daly fighting it out for P2. There it is. There's the white flag. Last lap. Vargs in behind, not going to close this gap. Trav Hunt, look at him steaming through. He wants to take Vargs. He's made it through that train of cars behind, headed up by Troy Sipple. Stoyles, Vigar, Latham, Buckland, Sattler, Fisher, Powell, all the way back to P13 in behind Troy Sipple here. Let's take a look at this train as it comes down into the S's. What a fantastic shot, though. You love to see it. Just an absolute line of V8 Supercars making their way around Road Atlanta, looking them up over these ripple strips. Still all to play for here for points. But the news out in front, Matt Vanderkraan, just the chicanes left to negotiate, and this win will be his.
Angry Birds back on top there for Matty, which is going to be certainly helping him out in that championship hunt there. Knowing that Travis Hunt is down in P5 as well, so we'll take a few chunks out of him. And another fantastic performance there from Travis Daly as well, too. So another podium position for him. And Simon Haynes should be nice and comfortable for that P2.
Simon Haynes opening up a huge gap over Trav Daly.
Yeah, Travis
and
just left it off.
then here we go, Stephen Varga, Travis Hunt. So let's keep an eye on this. There's Matt Vanderkraan crossing the line, takes the race win. Well done to Vanderkraan there. Simon Haynes takes it easily over Trav Daly, and here we go. Oh, look at the slide to the line. Trav Hunt desperately wanted P4. He's going to have to settle for P5, just 11 hundredths off the back there of Vargs. Troy Sipple backing up his race win takes a lovely little P6 there. And so we go and take a look up ahead. Matt Vanderkraan made it look easy in the end. Just a fantastic set of laps just back to back to back there. As we see him, the customary celebration, of course. Because why hang on to the tyres, honestly, when you're done? There's just no point.
Oh, they'll end up at a go-kart track as a barrier.
Yeah, no point in doing that. Absolutely
All right,
not.
or trackside for a safety barrier, one of the tracks that we have anywhere around, but
Exactly
job
right.
done.
So
we knew that once he's up the road, my friend, he was gone.
absolutely was. And there are the results. Matt Vanderkraan taking P1 in race 2 tonight. Very comfortably over Simon Haynes, finishing fast from QPR, and Trav Daly P3. Varga and Hunt P4, P5, barely separated by 1/10 of a second there. Troy Sipple backing it up with a P6, a great night for him. And then Matt Stoyles, Rick Vigar, Latham and Buckland rounding out the top 10 in race number 2. Sattler, Fisher, Powell and Perrins, the next 4 coming through with Mark Peck not far behind there. And Tyrone Anderson, look, not a bad result considering some of the issues he had tonight. Jason Dunn, Joseph Granshaw, Chris Burridge and Anita Buckland rounding out the top 20. while Steve Kennedy, unfortunate for him that he's found himself down in P21 after some good showings with lap times, but couldn't put it together tonight. Dylan Sippel, Todd Martin and Matt Wicks finishing on that lead lap, I think very much in part the pass on the safety car that they were given. James Hardy and Craig Rose also just barely hanging on to the lead lap, with Daniel Sherris, Phil Marsh and Michael Hayes all finishing well back in the field after some pretty unfortunate results there, you'd have to say. So while we wait for Mr. Van der Kraan to finish his drive back into the pits, we're joined by P2 Simon Haynes. Simon, what a fantastic finish from you. Just wanted to put the foot down and gave yourself some gap over Trav there, hey?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting there towards the end, but yeah, just heads down and try to concentrate a bit and push back up, yeah.
Good to see, mate. Good to see. How was that feeling throughout that race? I mean, Van der Kraan just had next level pace there, really, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I did my best, gave it absolutely everything to try and even just sort of hold on for as long as I could. But yeah, he's very, very quick.
Yeah, absolutely is. And look, all things considered, I think to open up that gap that you had, nothing to be ashamed of there. It's a solid P2 result. Look, really, nothing left to say but well done this evening, and go and enjoy it, mate. It's well earned.
Will do. No worries. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Simon Haynes there, P2 this evening, as we wait for Van der Kraan to just get himself sorted and back to the green room, so we can have a chat to him about that win. But yeah, look, some interesting issues right throughout the field there as we take a look back. Daniel Sheriff's late in the race here, just having a bit of a struggle. And not really his night, was it? Unfortunately, Biggles.
No, you have, I mean, one of those races you can probably just, I was going to say, tear that page out of your passport on that one. But, it comes and goes. What goes down must come off and so forth. So plenty more races to be able to lift yourself up there and be at the right place at the right time. Comes down to qualifying performances as well. Another thing is rolling back to Simon Haynes. I mean, he finished in P7 in the first race, and of course in the second race he finished in P2, so he's making his way back up. 2 top 10 finishes is good for the man that's currently going into this race P10 in the championship.
Solid results all round, but speaking of solid results, I don't think that does justice to the drive here in race 2 from Matt Van der Kraan. Matt, how are you feeling after that one, mate? You made it look easy.
It was a lot easier than race 1, I've got to say. I made a bit of a boo-boo in the pits in race 1, so no, a lot of fun there, that's for sure.
Good to see. In the end, just not even remotely close from anyone else there, as you made your way around. What do you think was behind that in that race? How was that such a gap back to P2?
I think a couple of the boys had a bit of a bingle behind me early on, which left no toe. And yeah, look, mate, I just put my head down. Travis Hunt kept getting the fastest lap on me, so I right, bugger this, I've got to beat Trav again. And so that kept me fired up to just keep the pedal down.
Fair enough too. And look, it's certainly come off in the best way you could have hoped for. Really, just no one looked close at all. Biggles, from what you saw of Matt out in front, anything you want to get from him? Maybe a few tips on what it takes.
Hey, well, Matty's just watch Matty drive. That's tips on how to get the job done. Because we knew it from your qualifying performance as well, too, Matt. You're super quick. You're 2 tenths quicker than everybody else, I think, during the qualifying. So you put the car in the right place. Probably you said yourself, maybe not the best result you wanted for a race 1, but you still got some crucial points in that one, finishing in P4 and then finishing with the race win in the second race. That should actually put you nice on the top of the timesheets as well, too, in the championship. So how's that feeling going?
Yeah, bloody great, man. Nice to get a good solid start to the season. I'm an absolute expert at making stupid mistakes. I only made a minor stupid mistake tonight, which didn't destroy me too much, and hopefully I can just keep some consistency going through the season. Really enjoying racing in this league and what the boys have put together. So, yeah, if I can keep my nose clean and just concentrate, I'll be up there giving it a crack.
I can't argue at all, and mate, some very, very solid points coming through for you this evening. We're just watching some footage of your celebration, of course, using up the last of those Dunlop slicks after a very, very well-earned win in race 2 this evening. So we'll leave you to go celebrate with the rest of the Angry Birds team, but mate, good to see you back up on top, and congratulations again on the race win tonight.
Thank you very much, Jared, and welcome to the broadcast, Biggles. Great to have you on board.
Thank you, sir.
Matt
Welcome,
Vanderkraan
boys.
there, our winner for race 2 this evening. So, Biggles, your entry into the Alliance Sim Racing world, V8 Supercars, how's it feel?
Drivers push themselves to the limit, didn't they, today? It's been an absolute pleasure to call the action with you, my friend. Road Atlanta certainly delivered its usual thrills and challenges, and the racing we saw today was top-notch. Even those saves as well, too, weren't they? Like, on the edge there. A couple of Code Browns and the drivers proving that they can keep these angry beasts on the track, especially if you've got Angry Birds Racing on your livery.
Yeah, look, it doesn't hurt to have the support of a big team, but Matt Vanderkraan really doing it all today. So a wonderful way to finish our evening tonight. We'll be back, of course, the same time next week for round number 3. To everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you tonight. Please make sure you do remember to subscribe to the Alliance Sim Racing channel, and do reach out to them on Facebook as well. Search for Alliance Sim Racing if you consider yourself, you know, a little bit of a V8 supercar driver, maybe wanting to get in on this series in future. But otherwise, keep tuned in to Simple Racing broadcasts for all your sim racing action. So do make sure and follow the link in the description down below to come and check us out. Until next time, though, Biggles, it's been an absolute pleasure having you along. For everyone at home, stay safe, keep racing, and we will see you at the next one. Goodbye for now.